Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Tom and Ashley Fallis? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoy this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the incident, then offer my analysis. In 2007, Tom and Ashley Fallis lived in Denver, Colorado. They had their first date in February of that year after connecting on Match.com. Ashley had 2 children at this time. Tom and Ashley became romantically involved and moved to Evans, Colorado. This is about an hour north of Denver. Tom found a job as a corrections officer, and Ashley worked as a respiratory therapist. In March 2008, the couple had a son together. 2 weeks later, the couple married. In 2010, Tom adopted Ashley's 2 girls. Before moving to the timeline of the incident, let's hear a word from today's sponsor, Stamps.com. Stamps.com allows you to focus on your business with the comfort of knowing that all your postage needs are covered with premium discounts and great rates. With Stamps.com, all you need is a computer and a printer. They even send you a free scale, so you will have everything you need to get started. If you need a package pickup, you can easily schedule it through your Stamps.com dashboard, and if you sell products online, Stamps.com seamlessly connects with every major marketplace and shopping cart. Running a business isn't cheap, especially when it comes to fulfilling orders for your customers. Luckily, Stamps.com has huge carrier discounts, up to 84% off USPS and UPS rates. For 25 years, Stamps.com has been indispensable for over 1 million businesses. Set up your business for success and get started with Stamps.com today. Sign up at Stamps.com/Dr. Grande for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com/Dr. Grande. Now moving to the timeline of the incident. On December 31, 2011, Tom and Ashley Fallis hosted a New Year's Eve party at their house. About 15 to 20 people attended the party to ring in the new year, including Ashley's parents and her aunt and uncle. At 12:30 a.m., now on January 1, 2012, Tom became upset after realizing that Ashley wanted to smoke marijuana. At this time, marijuana was illegal in Colorado. Tom stormed into the master bedroom. Just after this, the guests left the party. It would appear as though Tom killed the mood. At this point, there were 7 people remaining in the Fallis residence: Tom, Ashley, their 3 children, and Tom's niece and nephew, who were also children. At 12:50 a.m., Tom called 911 and reported that his wife had sustained a self-inflicted gunshot wound. When the police arrived at the scene, Tom appeared to be quite upset. Ashley was transported to the hospital as Tom was taken to a police station for an interview. Ashley Fallis was pronounced dead at 3:44 a.m. The next day, on January 2, the police announced that Ashley had brought an end to her own life. The investigation was officially closed with the same conclusion on March 1. Tom later moved to Bloomington, Indiana, with his 3 children and started working on a bachelor's degree. Not everybody believed that the case should have been closed. Ashley's parents were not satisfied with the police investigation and were quite vocal about their belief that Tom had murdered their daughter. They didn't think that she was the shooter. They believed that Tom was angry and shot her in the heat of the moment. A reporter for a local TV station started working on the story and talking to various people. One person he talked to was named Nick Glover. When Nick was 15, he was Tom's neighbor. Nick claimed that on the night of the shooting, he was crouching down next to an open window inside his house when he heard Tom talking outside. Presumably, Tom was talking to his parents when he said something like, "I can't believe I did it. What have I done? I shot her." The police had no record of Nick making this statement at the time of the shooting. Despite this, the investigation into Ashley's death was reopened. In November of 2014, Tom was indicted for murder and arrested. He went to trial in 2016 and was found not guilty of second-degree murder. Ashley's parents filed a lawsuit against Tom, but it was dismissed in 2017. Tom moved back to Indiana and continued with his life. Now moving to my analysis. Despite Tom Fallis being acquitted of murder, some people, including Ashley's parents, believe that he was guilty. Ashley's parents also accused the police of deliberately sabotaging the investigation in order to assist Tom. Presumably, they would have done this because Tom was a corrections officer. It is pretty clear that there are only two possibilities for what happened to Ashley. Either Tom pulled the trigger or Ashley did. There is no third possibility. This brings me to the question, was Tom Fallis responsible for Ashley's death? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that Tom was guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. At the New Year's Eve party, Tom was using expletives and speaking loudly. He became upset because he believed his wife was going to use marijuana. When the police arrived at the scene, Tom was covered in Ashley's blood. Tom had a few scratches on his chest that were noticed by the police. A neighbor later claimed to overhear Tom confessing to the murder. Ashley had some degree of future orientation. For example, she was planning on a Super Bowl party. Why would she have done this if she was not going to be around? Moving to the exculpatory factors, the New Year's Eve party started off in a peaceful manner. For example, not long before the shooting, Tom and Ashley were dancing in the living room. They seemed happy and normal. Tom had good reason to be upset by the marijuana situation. As I mentioned, at that time in Colorado, marijuana was illegal. Ashley was subject to drug testing at her job, which meant she could be fired. Furthermore, Ashley was already intoxicated, and she suffered from mental health symptoms. Tom said that he rendered assistance to his wife after she pulled the trigger. This explains why he was covered in her blood. Tom had an explanation for the scratches on his chest. For some reason, he had shaved off his chest hair. This caused him to itch, which led him to scratch himself. He had even sent text messages containing images to Ashley about his shaving adventure. The Taurus 9mm semi-automatic pistol that was used to kill Ashley was owned by her. The shooting took place within arm's reach of where Ashley stored the gun, under her bed. Ashley had a great deal of gunshot residue on her hands. Tom had a very small amount on his hands, consistent with being in the same area where the gun was fired, but not consistent with being the shooter. None of Ashley's DNA was found on the scratches on Tom's chest. Tom's DNA was not found under Ashley's fingernails. Ashley suffered from anxiety, insomnia, obsessive-compulsive disorder, and symptoms of bipolar disorder. She lost her job in 2010 for allegedly being insubordinate. In the summer of 2011, she had an affair with a former high school boyfriend. In July 2011, Ashley wrote a note where she extensively detailed how she did not want to be alive any longer. She wrote a similar note a few weeks later. Ashley demonstrated a pattern where she repeatedly believed that she was getting pregnant and having miscarriages. By this point, she had a tubal ligation, so it's unlikely that she was actually pregnant. Not long before the shooting, Ashley discontinued 3 different psychotropic medications because she thought she was pregnant. On the day of the shooting, Ashley believed that she had a miscarriage and was upset about this. Ashley had 2 relatives, her maternal grandmother and maternal uncle, who died by their own hands. Ashley's son had a serious illness which required multiple surgeries. This placed a great deal of stress on Ashley. She may have been worried that she was going to lose custody of her 2 daughters to her ex-husband. At the time of the shooting, Ashley was intoxicated from alcohol use and appeared to be trying to dull her pain with marijuana. A reconstruction of the shooting indicated that the pistol was pointed up toward the side of Ashley's head when it was fired. This would not be the expected angle if Tom was the shooter. As far as the teenage neighbor who allegedly heard Tom confess, to say he had dubious credibility would be overly generous. During cross-examination, he said, "I do not recall," on over 90 occasions. Also, after the shooting, he went camping with Tom and other friends. If Tom had actually confessed to a murder, why would the teenager have felt comfortable camping with him? Most teenagers would avoid this, mostly because of the murder part. When considering all the evidence in this case, Do I think that Tom Fallis was guilty of murder? No. In my opinion, Tom was not guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. In addition, I believe that Tom was actually innocent. There was no credible evidence pointing to his guilt. His prosecution was a miscarriage of justice. It's disappointing that a case this shaky was taken to trial. Tom had to cope with the tragic loss of his wife and then had to worry about the possibility of spending his life in prison. What do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Ashley Fallis had a long history of being impulsive, reckless, unpredictable, and having mood swings. She had a phenomenal number of stressors in her life, which only made her mental health situation worse. On the night of her death, Ashley was fixated on this belief that she had a miscarriage. This may have been a delusion caused by a mental disorder like bipolar disorder, but either way, her belief was probably false. Ashley was trying to alleviate her own suffering with alcohol, and she wanted to add marijuana to the mix. She was desperate to escape the pain, but could not do it. In a moment of impulsivity, Ashley made a lethal decision. Now moving to my final thoughts. Ashley's death was preventable. Somebody in her condition should not have been drinking or trying to access marijuana. Also, Ashley should not have had access to a firearm. I think this case illustrates how stressors can combine with impulsivity and cause disaster. Unintentionally, Ashley almost sent her husband to prison for decades. Any reasonable person should have known that those circumstances, like the way the shooting happened, could have led to a false accusation. But Ashley was only concerned with her own pain in that moment. It was overwhelming to her. Nothing else mattered. This is a good example of how mental health symptoms can affect more than just the people who directly suffer from them. The destruction can be far-reaching. Those are my thoughts in the case of Tom and Ashley Fallis. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comments section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.